Hello and hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the CSGO News episode. Not too many big stories out there, although one super huge story around HLTV we'll get into in just a second here. All of the stories, as per usual, will be timestamped down below if you guys want to bounce around to each and every story that you actually do want to hear about. First of which, though, in big announcements just this morning, HLTV will no longer cover two style of tournaments, round robin or league stage online tournaments. Okay, key wording there, guys. No longer covering league stage or round robin online tournaments. So a huge announcement here. It's seemingly in direct response. If you guys have seen our last two videos on the Noxfire topic, Noxfire now entering their second season. It's a $50,000 prize pool, and seemingly a lot of accusations out there about cheating, DDoSing, match fixing, throwing, whatever you want to call it. A slew of issues, a variety of accusations around that league, and apparently assumptions right now are the owner or the group of owners around Noxfire League pretty much put 50K up. They had some teams come into the league itself, and they have now been fixing the games to actually, of course, make that money and more back. Thanks to Wurza as well. I'll link his Twitter down below for all of you, pretty much exposing the entire league, and HLTV pretty much posting this Bible length response because it's seemingly of the Noxfire League. And all in all, this is actually great. Now I will say there are a few, very few lower tier tournaments. I would say UML, if you guys have watched that as well. It's an online league that has a LAN final for 150K. There's 4 teams there. I believe Valiance and Wendigo are 2 of those teams. It was a pretty solid league, but this does keep in mind as well, it's going to affect some lower tier tournaments, although they will be given the opportunity to change their format. If you have an online tournament and are not round robin or not league stage, if you reformat your event, it should be fine. You can actually get relisted onto HLTV's page and have that exposure, which a lot of these lower tier tournaments certainly do need, and a lot of these lower tier teams probably certainly do appreciate as well. So I don't think overall it's going to have too many negative backlash issues here. I think overall a step in the right direction, and also keep in mind a great response by HLTV to actually go ahead and say this and do this and come forward about this, because there is a lack of regulation, a severe lack of regulation. First it was a Chinese CS, HLTV responded to that and took away a lot of those matches, and now at these online leagues it's impossible to actually regulate all of these individual online tournaments. So I think it's a great step forward for HLTV to try and combat match fixing and combat all of these scummy leagues out there, and it takes a lot of courage to actually come forward and pretty much openly say, hey, we couldn't regulate this, so we were a bit wrong here, we're taking it away and we're changing the format up altogether. And also, very lastly, keep in mind, ESL Pro League as well as ECS, they did reformat, so they are safe, and there was one exception to all these rules, that being ESEA Mountain Dew League, which I think is great. That's probably the one lower tier, it's not really lower tier, but it's, you know, growing teams out there, but especially when you look at European Mountain Dew League, there are actually some really good teams, so that's the one exception. They will not need to reformat, and they will still be featured on HLTV. I think all in all, really, as of right now, no qualms with this. I think a great update, and this should actually clear up your HLTV results page by a landslide, and I cannot wait to see the actual results that we only want to see are now on HLTV. I think a great move going forward. We're going to see how other leagues out there reformat to be put back on HLTV, and I hope, cross your fingers, this is the end of Noxfire League, because even when HLTV comes out and says it, there's got to be something wrong, right? Many accusations out there. 3D Max have now actually left the league as well as of last week. I think other teams as well, Peter said, have also left the league. So Valvo, do your thing. Let's target Noxfire League and find out what is going on. And also in big news out there, I don't typically share with all of you guys, but a short news day, and on top of that, a sponsor or a partnership out in the CSGO scene or the esports scene that is now partnered with 3 different teams that we all know, Optic Gaming, EnvyUs, and Complexity, and that's actually the first time I've seen a 3-way partnership in quite some time. And along with that, it's actually GameStop. I think a lot of us have, you know, kind of a little home in our heart for GameStop out there. We've all, if you're American as well, have been to a GameStop. I say that, I don't even know if GameStop's international. I hope it's not. But when I was a boy, I've stopped in a few GameStops in my time. So they now partner with those 3 teams, also in collaboration with, of course, Optic and EnvyUs or Envy's Overwatch teams as well. And they've also given Complexity their very own performance center, which looks amazing. I'll also link a post down below for all of you guys. Why I'm really sharing this is because with this partnership and their performance center, Complexity seems to have a lot of promises of what they're going to do for the community in terms of live streaming and actually showing you guys the behind the stage scenes and more interactive content. So if you guys want to read that article posted by Complexity themselves, that'll be linked down below. Is this what we need? Let's throw an optic of the conversation. Is this what Envy and of course Complexity need to take the next step in North American CSGO? You know, I wanted to kind of slip in a little segment here and there, but I won't right now. Envy, guys, especially with what Cloud9's doing right now, Envy, top 3 North American team 2019. Maybe. And speaking of Envy, one of my guy friends from way back in the day. I'm not going to talk about this too much because it will make me too emotional. That's actually going to be EnvyUs Loop. My man has had this handle for the longest time, ever since he was signed by EnvyUs, back when they actually were EnvyUs, and so he has still not changed that. Loop, if you're watching this, you might want to change it back to Envy, you know, your organization, the people who sign you. They've changed their name by now, but I agree with you, that's definitely the better half of the name. If you guys do not know this man's story, it was actually several years ago, I think a few years ago, where I first covered this guy. I've actually had the chance to talk to him a few times as well, and just, it's been crazy to see what this guy can go through. And again, I know I'm already talking about it way too long. He suffers from HSAN. I cannot pronounce the 4 words in that, which pretty much means he cannot feel pain. You guys can imagine, yes, you think it's a superpower, right? No, it causes you a lot of issues in life when you can't feel when you're under pain. Along with that, guys, he is legally blind and deaf and still plays CS at a competitive level. This guy just has gone through more than I think anyone I know has gone through, and he is finally, thanks to prosthetics, actually has a nose back. When he was a kid, his nose pretty much fell off. You can't even imagine what this guy has gone through. He now has his nose back and can smell like you and me, and looking great. I will link his Twitch down below for all of you guys if you want to support him in any way possible. Loop, love you. It's just like every time I talk about him, I really can't imagine what he goes through, and so I just have a lot of respect for that guy. Anyway, keeping it happy for our very last story. This is actually a pretty amazing story, though. For the first time since like 2017, there's not going to be ASTRALIS or Liquid in a grand final, because this weekend's big event being StarLadder Season 7, number 1 ASTRALIS, number 2 Liquid. We all know our best teams by a long shot in the world right now will both not be there. So we get to certify who our next best team will be, because number 1, number 2 will not be there, but our next 8 of the top 10 will all be there. So it's gonna be really cool to see what team's actually gonna perform as our number 3 team in the world. If they do win the event, they'll be my certified number 3 team, because this system is gonna be crazy. It's pretty much like the major, but you know, kind of jacked up a notch. You guys know our majors kind of have the Swiss format system, but they do initial best of 1s. This is gonna be all best of 3 matchups, Swiss system. It's gonna be crazy to see. So if I do a prediction episode, if you guys do want one, I'm kind of back and forth about doing it, because if I do a prediction episode, I will likely just choose for the group stage your best teams to go through, because it's best of 3s all the way through. A ton of CSGO going on this weekend, but finally we will see. Thank you, CS organizer gods. I guess the teams chose not to go pretty much, but either way, we will not see ASTRALIS, we will not see Liquid. We will kind of finally determine who our next best team in CSGO is this weekend at StarLadder Season 7. I cannot wait. It's going to be very exciting to see, and I will of course break down the results come Monday. Unfortunate news though, Cloud9 will not be there, which does mean we do not get to see their current roster, which nobody still knows. But anyway, I hope you guys all enjoy. Hope you guys all have a great day, great night. I will see you back here tomorrow with more CSGO news, and until next time, take care.